If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sori says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at vinsori@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in a Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
So buy our merch.
Yes,
I hope
dear
you guys
listener,
like
yes,
the
dear
addition
listener.
to Pony's birthday. We have, what is the homie's name from Ghost?
Huh? This is Ghosty.
Yeah, I know. Oh, I was going to say what the guy's real name was. What was it again?
No, this
We
guy.
call him
this
Ghosty.
This is Ghosty.
It's been so long since he's done an appearance. And yes, he's as cute in real life as he is right here. This is the cutest little doll I've ever seen.
That was a pretty
The
badass
details
plushie.
on the ears and stuff is just next level. Anyway, all right, birthday stream it is. Happy birthday again to our beloved Pony, who has been with us for, oh God,
She's pretty close.
basically as long as Vinny and I have been married. Pony's been around.
yeah. Honestly, it's day one OG.
Yeah. So anyway, I am going to read song number 2. We're just going to go with the order, the way she gave it to us.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up is Nightwish. Tribal is the name of the song. She said, I couldn't decide between this song or Yours is an Empty Hope. But there's always a next time after all, she said. This is an official lyric video.
Go ahead,
And,
keep talking.
That was it. So we have
Talk
Nightwish. We've been waiting.
Talk to the people, because we're nowhere close to being able to get in, because your computer is going
okay.
2 miles an hour.
Oh, so are we signing out of that one?
Signing on to which one?
Are you signing
No, we're
out?
not, because that thing is still locked out for some reason. All right. So keep talking to the people, please, while I download this video.
Anyway, so Pony has been with us since the very beginning, and she's a giant Nightwish fan. It's also something that she had very special with her mama, and she sent us a CD years ago that was very, very special to her, and it remains right there with us. Okay. Anyway, I'm gonna pull up the comment section so I can kind of chit chat with you guys.
Yeah, you guys can do a little Ask Me Anything with Soraya while I get this
Ask
thing
me
to work.
anything. Let me bring up the comment section. Pony, yes, let's go. Oh, Son of the Sun, you got to see Nightwish a couple months ago. Which state did you see that in? Michelle, sorry, would I be able to find him on Amazon, big sister? I don't know what you're looking for on Amazon. Maybe you're not talking to us. Oh, wait a minute. You are talking to me. Hold on. You need to tell me where you got that. Got what, Michelle? Where did you get what? Every message, Michelle, that I look at is you asking, where did I get it? So they got me a Wiccan reading the Bible. Oh, so they got me a pagan and Wiccan reading the Bible. What are you trying to find, Michelle?
Probably the plushie.
Oh, this. No, we didn't get him on Amazon. Actually, somebody from our channel started watching us, and they make these
reviews.
Yeah, they make these like any different ones. And matter of fact, I've thought of reaching out to them to see if they'll make a little Vin and Sori. his shirt he used to be wearing a Sori Secret shirt too.
Yeah, he did.
But it faded.
What happened?
It faded. It faded, but it, our children probably had something to do with it as well.
You think you can't go to YouTube? What is going on here?
What do you mean? It does go to YouTube. Oh, you know what? Yeah, you are on the
Why is your
internet.
computer so slow?
It's been like that. I don't know. Well, not as slow as what you're seeing. I had switched it to my hotspot, though, when I was working the...
What? You switched it to your hotspot?
I had switched it to my hotspot when I was working when I wasn't home. I thought that might be the issue, but I realized it's not. So strike that from the record. River says, Sori, what bands have been your favorites as far as what's been introduced to the channel? Okay, you know what's funny? I was thinking about this last night. Sorry, buddy. I was thinking about this last night. I like Nirvana. I like a lot of the Nirvana songs. I also, you guys are going to ask me which one it was, and now I can't remember because I replayed it. It was one of the Iron Maiden songs that I kept on repeat for a while. I also like, is it Blue October?
Yeah.
Or did I say that one wrong? Pretty sure it was Blue October. Also like Pain of Salvation. I did like, some of the Ghost songs. There was one of them that I returned to for a while, but then I didn't. Sometimes I wish that, so as the channel progressed, there was songs that we would listen to, and I'd be like, that's going on my playlist. And I always thought that I was going to remember to add it to a playlist later, and I never did. So I actually regret that. I was thinking about, because I'm pretty sure, like, one of our villagers used to keep track of all the scores that we gave everything. And I'm assuming if it was something I was going to put on my playlist, it would have gotten a 10 or 11. So I've thought of going through that list of songs to kind of figure out which ones were on that. But yeah, Nirvana. Oh yeah, Exercises in Futility 6. There was one of those, probably it was 6 that I really liked. Which that's Magua.
That's Magua.
Right?
That's
that's your jam. So I was glad that there was one that I liked.
That was the first song we heard from them, Exercises in Futility.
But they have Exercises in Futility 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
6 was the one I liked.
That was the first one we heard.
You're here. Hi.
Who?
Hell.
Hey! Glad to see you.
Yeah. I'm very glad to see you. Very, very happy to see you. I was thinking
Really
about you a
glad
lot
to see
today,
you.
actually. I was like, I hope she's doing good. We have another stream tomorrow, you guys. Actually, I'll tell you right now what time it's at, so you guys can be prepared. Be prepared. All right. Tomorrow's stream is going to be at 10 p.m. and it is a big stream. We've got 8 songs, so
Yeah, hopefully we can start at 10.
yeah, that will be the goal. That will be the plan. It's another one of those collab streams where a bunch of people come in, and I have no clue what songs are going to get played because right now it's just a paid for list and nothing's been given to me, so we don't know how exciting it's going to get.
So at the moment, guys, I'm trying to download. I'm on Sori's computer because I got locked out of my other computer. So everything's going 2 miles an hour. So please be patient. Sorry, Pony. Just letting you guys know. We should be up soon. Delaney in the house.
Ooh, the song list is on Discord though, so if you want to sneak peek, join up real fast. Actually, I think I'm in Discord. I just don't usually pop in there. I did one time. I popped in there one time because I had to try to get a hold of some people, and everybody was just talking shit about me and Vin. Remember that? It's so funny because one of our kids has a Discord now with his own little following, and he was like, he has like all these strict rules for his Discord, like you can't even say thank you in there. Apparently that's weird. So if you say thank you, you get like timed out for like a minute or something. Anyway, so his mom was in there, and of course she said thank you. So that she got timed out.
Oh, she was in there?
She got timed on and shit. He's like, I told her to read the rules. I'm like, your own mother? What the heck?
Did he time her out himself?
No, it's just set up to do that. But it was
That's hilarious.
It was still pretty funny.
All right, I think we have it.
All right. And also,
is that her? Mm-hmm. Yeah. If she can endure this chippy, I'm really sorry for how chippy it is, guys. But trying to bring you the heat. All right, here we go. Here we go. Tribal by the band Nightwish. Surprise, surprise. Pony is doing a Nightwish song. Let's do it, guys. Tribal. I'm actually pretty excited for this. Tribal. Find out Nightwish can get heavy.
Okay.
You find out Nightwish can get heavy. Tribal.
Yeah. Amazon account is up and running now. We are selling our formula officially. It's amazing stuff from Europe.
Made in Germany. Sold in America.
Highest standards there are. In America, the standards haven't been updated since 1980. It's super weird, like older than me. In Europe, they update safety standards basically every year. This formula is top notch, great for the stomach, great for constipation. This is a great product. If you happen to want to purchase it and join us on our journey, then grab the link in the description. If you do and leave a review for us, send me a screenshot at vinandsori@gmail.com of your review after you have received the product. We will put your name in a hat. Song reviews are going to come out by some of the people that have left reviews. Don't forget to send us a screenshot of your review once you get the product. Now a word from our mascot dressed as a pirate, Fuji.
It's a deal of a deal.
Holy smokes. Nightwish is a metal band,
Nobody
y'all.
will ever say that woman cannot sing. She
Nightwish is a freaking metal
believable.
band.
Unbelievable.
Damn, I'd love to see this one live.
We're going to. We're gonna be down there by Pony.
Yeah, we're gonna be down
and
there.
And we're gonna go to a live show. And Jake's gonna go. We're gonna have a double date night.
Shout out to Yaek. Yeah. It's crazy.
We're gonna get sitters. Maybe we can get a sitter together. Gia can come over and hang out with our kids.
I think Vin and Sori are doing robot dance like real freestyle poppers. We just think it's a choppy video. There you go, Hell.
Way to keep it positive.
That was heavy, man.
Yeah, it was.
And that had some attitude too with the pounding.
Yeah.
Stop the rhythm.
And then it had tribal in it, which was surprising.
Which is where they were going.
But we were talking, you brought Abraham into it and stuff, so kind of.
Abraham? Who brought Abraham into it?
She did.
Who? Who's she?
Floor, when she was singing.
She brought Abraham into it? What are you talking about?
Yeah. She's talking about Abraham.
I literally have no idea what you're talking about.
I mean, maybe I'm out to lunch. Who
Let me
knows?
pull up these
I don't
lyrics.
believe
Did
so,
she
though.
use the word Abraham?
Yeah, cut in 3. Okay, just look it up. 10,000 blue. Wait, you just.
Hold on. Yeah, this is not my computer. I'm trying to find the lyrics.
I'm pulling up the lyrics.
Massive. Why didn't you put it in that folder like I said?
What folder?
You can get all your screenshots to go into a second folder like on my computer.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Oh, there it is. Abraham cut into 3. Oh, okay. You know what that is.
Yeah, when he went down the middle?
No.
Wait, cut into 3?
No.
What?
I don't think they know that much about the Bible. I think he's talking about Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam.
Oh.
Because they're called the Abrahamic religions.
Okay.
Right? So Judaism, Christianity, and Islam are called the Abrahamic religions. So I think that's what he's saying. Man found gods and began to preach. Suffering loves faith, loves suffering. Smile to elders like a good dog. Repent, accept, separate yourselves, suck the arrogant. So it looks to me like it's a critique on faith or the Abrahamic religions, probably most likely Christianity, because these guys were probably most exposed to the Christian faith, especially when you have words like repent, things like that, and preach. Those are, I mean, you do have preaching and repentance in Islam, but it's not stylized that way. You know, like if he said, Tawbah and Khutbah, then yeah. But it looks to me like it's a commentary on, the Christian sort of world that they inherited and some of the issues. 10,000 tales to the curious minds, bazaar of heavens for a hive mind. So it looks to me like, this is the current template, that a lot of people have, which to me is a little bit oversimplistic and doesn't account for certain things. But it's basically, people came up with religion because they couldn't explain the natural phenomena in the world. So, for example, you see lightning and thunder, you're terrified of it, so you anthropomorphize lightning and thunder by, Zeus and Odin or whatever, right? Or you're in an agrarian society and you're completely dependent on the seasons, operating in a cyclical fashion. And so you create gods that you can appease for like rain and things like that, so that you can have some semblance of like hope and expectation that you're not going to starve to death in some horrible famine or something like that. So that's kind of like an understanding of religion, which is, you came up with this to explain things that you can't explain. Of course, the problem with that is that religion itself creates mysteries that are inexplicable. Yeah. So if we created the religion to explain inexplicable natural phenomena, then every especially the major, they all have mysteries in them. Go ahead.
Yeah, but the opposite could be said. Okay, one could say, yeah, we created it because we didn't like having no answers. But the other could be true. You could say that, well, this is true, and the reason that you're making a question out of it and saying that we created it is because you don't want to go with what it implies or what the implications of it. Sure. So either could be true. We could be making it up because we didn't like the implications of life without God. You could be making it up because you don't like the implications of life with God. Like, it's kind of one of those.
I agree. But that's kind of like the current, and like I said, it's that idea has a lot of holes in it, because as I said, religion at times creates a lot more mystery than nature does. And religion creates a lot more fear than nature does. It's like, yeah, you might be afraid of a thunderclap, but you have entire systems of belief where people end up throwing their kids into volcanoes, all types of shit. You know what I'm saying? So like the gods are a lot more scary and terrifying than natural phenomena. So I was watching Jordan Peterson go back and forth with this guy, and the guy said, yeah, you know, you made that up because people want to, they're afraid of death. And he said, yeah, so then why create an idea that's worse than death, like hell?
Hell, yeah. Please explain this to us, sir.
Yeah, and then Peterson was saying, like,
doesn't make any sense.
Especially if it's a place where only your enemies go to, that would still make a lot of sense. But unfortunately,
you too could land there.
You get most religious people who take their religion seriously are terrified of themselves going to hell.
Right,
so
right.
It just you know, oh, we're afraid of dying, so let's create a fate that's worse than death in the first place.
Right.
I don't know.
That would make more sense if you were a universalist and you're like, look, there's a heaven and everybody's going there.
Right.
Nobody's getting punished for anything.
But the suffering loves faith. It's a good line. Smile like the elders, like a good dog. Repent, accept, separate yourself. That's an interesting critique relative to faith and suffering. I mean, there are some Christian denominations that almost, you know, glorify suffering or whatever. So I understand that to a degree, especially in a Catholic context where they have this concept of, I would say, self-oriented redemptive suffering, where if you put yourself through some sort of pain, it helps to kind of reduce your debt to God. Mm-hmm. Right, so you got the self-flagellation stuff and other stuff that people do, where suffering becomes sort of a currency that you can cash in, so that you won't be punished in purgatory or you won't be punished by God.
I think a lot of that stuff is guilt-based. Like if you feel guilty or you feel bad about something and you want to somehow fix it, and then like seemingly there's no way to fix it because maybe you don't have an understanding of that we're all sinners and there is forgiveness for people, so you want to try to fix it somehow yourself, and that's a lot of times I think excuse me, where the self-harm, like self-flagellation stuff comes in, because you can feel like you did something, so then you don't have to feel so guilty because you did something to alleviate that guilt. Well, yeah, I did that bad thing or whatever, but I whipped myself, whatever they do. I think there's different forms of it. One of them is whipping themselves, but
yeah, and I think that's a toxic way to interpret suffering. Obviously, in the Christian faith, we do believe in redemptive suffering. Well, a lot of people believe in redemptive suffering. It just depends on how far you want to take it and where you're going to go. But besides all that, for me, relative to the concept of guilt and relative to the concept of suffering, I don't care.
Ooh, Sean, yes.
I don't care what position. I don't care what position you're in. Like, you're gonna suffer and you're gonna interface with guilt. Period. Mm-hmm. That's just the human condition. Yeah. So if you don't develop a theology of suffering and a theology of guilt, or a philosophy for you secularists, a philosophy of suffering and a philosophy of guilt, you're gonna get eaten alive by life. One of the things I appreciate really is the theology of suffering in Christianity. I mean, if you think about it, the symbol is a cross. It's an implementation of torture and suffering. And on this side of Christianity, we see the cross as this, beautiful symbol and powerful symbol. Well, yeah, I mean, it's the symbol of
our salvation,
And we have gold and all the rest of it. We have gold plated. Like, that is not the idea. It would be like walking around carrying a noose.
I remember
during the antebellum period when they were lynching dudes. Like, it was an instrument of torture and destruction, which is one of the reasons why I believe in the resurrection. Is the symbology of the cross makes no sense outside of that.
Yeah, especially when you consider how Rome executed so many people, and they were executed by the cross. So crucifixion was like one of their big sources, and it was a horribly pain. In fact, the Romans actually had doctors on hand that were like death experts to make it so that way you didn't die as soon as you would have, so they could drag out your suffering longer. So I mean, these people were experts in this, and they killed so many people. And it wasn't that you did something wrong and so you got crucified. It could have just been, okay, we need to instill the fear and the respect of Rome, and so they just grab random men and women and children. Did I ever hear children?
I've never heard of a child being crucified.
Men and women just being crucified on the street, and it would just line the roads, and you can't drive by just looking. You had to walk by.
Separate Second Temple culture, maybe a 13-year-old was still considered a warring age male. So, warring age man. So, I mean, if somebody was crucified at 13, we'd call them a child, but
right.
they'd call it a man to a degree.
But my point being, you've done that with so many families. Like that would start like a whole, like a mob, like an entire generation of people that the cross is looked at as like this horrible, horrible thing that generationally upsets you. For instance, what you just brought up with the noose. Like a noose is never going to be looked at as anything positive when you see it. And so the fact that we have a symbol that is universal, is it universally accepted? It's basically universal.
Well, not accepted, but recognized.
Yeah.
Like immediately when you see that, you know what's up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's interesting too, because you would think that, that's so funny, because like a cross by itself could be both positive or negative. If you just, a cross by itself could be the cross that the Romans used to kill tons and tons of people, or it could be the cross of Christ that brings us to our salvation. It's just crazy that, anyway, I remember as like a 12-year-old realizing how outlandish it was that people walk around with crosses around their neck. And I thought, if Jesus had died by a guillotine, we would have like a guillotine hanging around our necks. And I was like, what's happening with this? Like, and I didn't really, I mean, I was mulling around this in my own head. Wish we would have been friends at the time. But yeah, like that concept of something that is so, it changed something to that point, to that degree, that you can have so many people killed by this, but yet culture has shifted in such a way that Christians and non-Christians alike will wear a cross as a symbol of redemption.
That, I forgot the guy's name. Yeah, I gotta write it down on the board. He's a secularist. He's not a Christian, and he was talking about how all the technological advances, everything you enjoy in the Western world, is due to Christianity.
Oh.
Yeah,
Who
and I'm
said
like,
that?
well, I forgot the guy's name, but he was talking about how the concept of a crucified Messiah, he didn't really talk about it on the Judaism side, which is where I always go to.
Yeah.
He talked about it on the Roman side, which is to say, a slave at that time, like this concept of human rights and how everybody's equal, that is not a natural native idea to human beings. Mm-hmm. That is a distinctly, even Plato believed that women were like ontologically beneath men or whatever. And Plato also believed that about slaves too. But he said, if you can have the king,
so we're both in the same spot in that
if you
one.
can have the king suffer the same death penalty as a slave, which is crucifixion, then that changes the value and worth of everybody to be, it
Wait, say what?
pushes
If you
everybody
can what?
down to the same level.
Say
because
again?
Jesus is a king,
Yep.
and he's bearing the punishment of a slave.
Oh, right,
Because
right,
you couldn't
yeah.
you couldn't crucify Roman citizens. Couldn't do that. So right there, Jesus as the king is suffering the death of a slave with all the violations that go along with it. I mean, this guy gets really, really graphic when he talks about every orifice of your body was for use for these people when they're talking about slavery. I mean, it was just insane. And so for Jesus to be treated that way as a slave while simultaneously you're claiming he's king, it flattens everybody out into equal plane now, right? And you see this where Paul says every free man is the Lord's slave and every slave is the Lord's freedman. Free man. So Paul is already constructing this and dealing with the implications of what it means that Jesus was crucified. Because in Paul's mind, he's a great king, he's a great Messiah, yada, yada, yada. So like, but I understand here suffering loves faith, and that can be abused. Where, for example, you tell an abused woman who's getting the crap beat out of her every other night by her husband, oh, God wants you to suffer. Redemptive suffering is healthy. Redempting is good. Jesus died on a cross. You can sit there and get beaten up by your husband, blah, 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 blah. So there's definitely ways where you can take the concept of the cross and redemptive suffering and you can bastardize that into keeping people. Like, for example, a lot of people don't understand. Paul is saying slaves be obedient to your masters. Paul also said, if you can get your freedom, get your freedom.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that balance. Paul does not want the slaves in the first Roman century to disobey their masters, because that's inevitably going to lead to bloodshed, either theirs or taking part in the Spartan slave revolts. And
but he says a different thing to the slave owners.
Yeah, they were pacifists. Jesus was a radical pacifist. So you cannot tell slaves, rise up and be part of the Spartan revolution and be a pacifist. That's literally impossible. But there were ways for slaves to get their freedom in that period, mainly by manumission. Like, you could work yourself out of slavery, or you could buy yourself Roman citizenship.
Or the Year of Jubilee. That was a thing still.
Not on the Roman side.
Romans, yeah.
So Paul was saying, if there's a nonviolent means of getting your freedom, get it. Mm-hmm. But for now, bite the bullet until you can get the hell out of Dodge, right? And that's the context that, so that would be one example where I would say, yeah, you've got this abused woman. We're not going to tell her, get a gun and kill your husband.
Right.
But if you can get out, get out. And guess what? We're a church. We can help you. We've got funds. We've got money, yada, yada, yada. And then we're gonna get you and your kids safe, and then we're gonna get the authorities. We're gonna get a restraining order so this guy doesn't get to torture you guys, etc., etc. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a very practical way of working that out. But what a lot of things that happen is they'll take something like the crucifixion or Jesus' voluntary suffering, and then they'll say, yeah, you just got to stay in that situation. And then the woman gets the shit beat out of her for 20 years, and then, the guy leaves anyway, and she's like a husk of a person, and then they put her as an example of faithfulness or whatever. But it's not because they're celebrating her. It's because they want the other woman to understand that this is the way they need to be treated too. So I can see where you take something as beautiful as the redemptive suffering of Christ and the redemptive suffering of the saints, of our brothers and sisters who've, paid ultimate prices for our faith. And I can see how somebody could bastardize that. And especially if you're in leadership, like the nuanced way that I talked about it with the slaves and the manumission and things like that. And that's how you balance it out. And so there's a way to analogize that to the woman who's being beaten. Your average Christian woman isn't thinking that. They're just trusting that, hey, a pastor wouldn't stray me the wrong way. He wouldn't tell me to be in a bad situation. And I'm not saying that the pastor himself has a bad motivation. I'm just saying that, you can get brainwashed by this stuff.
Yeah, especially when you
take advantage of people.
Especially when you have verses like, turn the other cheek, stuff like that. Like, it can give people the idea that, oh, you should keep staying and just keep getting abused. That's not the context of that, and that's not how that should be used. And women have stayed in situations. People have stayed in situations that have been dangerous for them. I know this pastor that I used to, I guess, learn under. And he was visiting this lady, and he was telling the lady was sick. She had cancer, and it was in her arm, and he kept telling her, you got to go see the doctor. And she was like, nope, I'm going to believe by faith that God is going to heal, and he's going to heal my arm, and I believe by faith. And like, he said that each time he went to visit her, her arm was getting like more and more black. And eventually she was dead set, like, no. And it was like, it was dangerous. It was really bad. I mean, she got out of it, like they did amputate it, and her life was saved, but it got really, really close and super, super toxic and dangerous because...
If she would have addressed it immediately, would she got amputated?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, who can say? But no, because they knew that the cancer was there, but she said she didn't want any treatments because God was going to heal it. But when it became obvious that that was not the path God wanted for her, she couldn't pivot. She was like, no, he's going to heal it. He's going to heal it. God doesn't always heal it the way that we think he's going to.
Well, that's the thing is like people are looking for like a miracle, but they're not recognizing a miracle.
Right. The facts that we have advances.
The fact that you've got these advances are miraculous.
Exactly.
The advances that we have right now, from the various scientific endeavors, we've made way more progress in the last 100 years than all the other previous years combined.
I mean, chemotherapy.
So if you look at that from like if you stretch that out over the entire timeline we've been around, then an MRI is absolutely miraculous. Mm-hmm. The fact that it's in every hospital in the country doesn't make it that much less miraculous. I mean, look, go to Afghanistan. Like, the way people live in Afghanistan is the way that the human family has existed for most of the world. So that in itself is a miracle. And so, like, but that's another example where it's like, oh, faith. We've got faith as this one little sliver here, and faith means that God has to do something completely weird for us to recognize that God is doing something. Instead of saying God did something in the Western world to where we have all these advances, the whole damn thing was miraculous.
Yeah.
The whole thing is miraculous. But you know, church people are not taught to think that way, especially relative to science. They're taught to fear science and whatever.
Well, I think that another thing too is that people are prone to controlling other people, and it has to be something you have to be really conscious of. And I think that if, let's say you're a pastor and you're a pastor who cares about how you appear to other people, if your congregation, it looks messy when you don't force people in to do certain things and to react certain ways to situations. It's easier if you can get people to just fall in line to the party line, because you can look a certain way, your church can look a certain way. But if you let people, you know, kind of make mistakes and, you know, figure out where the line is for turn the other cheek, where you should be turning the other cheek, and where should you be saying this is enough, and you move on. You know what I'm saying? Like, these complexities that happen in life because stuff is not so easy, and taking the principles from the Bible and trying to, you know, see where they apply to the situation. But I think that it's easier if people can just be feared into doing the right response, or, you know, you can just say your faith is gonna, you know, have faith in that, and you don't actually have good answers for people. You just tell them to take stuff by faith. You know, they're suffering, and it's just, you know, maintain the faith, and but there's no so real substance to what you're giving people. But.
Yeah. There you go. But that heavy part in that song was crazy.
Oh my gosh, it was so good.
That was crazy.
We haven't had a song like that in a while.
9.8 for me.
9.9.
That song was hard, bro.
Yep.
We coming right back. Commercial break. We'll be right back.